Okay, we'll call the meeting in order at 1:31. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Adam Dennis,
Present.
Mr. Walker,
Here.
Mr. Becker,
Here.
Mr. Jeff Dent,
Here.
Ms. Goodman, here, Ms. Kaminsky, here, Mr. Bucarty.
Here. Okay. Approval, the agenda. Make a motion to approve it. Thank you. Mr. Becker?
I'll
Is there a
second.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Hearing none. Agenda approved. Public comment.
There's no one else on.
Okay.
Do you expect him out?
Yes, I am. Is there, is there any comment from any authority board members?
I wanted to make, we got somebody here.
I just said just a minute to Miles. Go ahead, Karen.
I just want to make a couple comments in regards to this whole process. It hasn't been easy, as we all know. It's kind of been haphazard. I would encourage that if we get in these situations again, I would like a better plan. I know that Lisa was involved, however, I personally would have removed all of this responsibility over to the county's HR if possible. I had talked to them previously. They had said sure, but we just never went down that path. That way it removes conflicts of interest. At this point, Barry, we're negotiating with a new person, and you've put in for the FBO and RFP. I just feel as if I feel uncomfortable because there's a conflict here. So, you know, participation in these meetings are concerning, even though they're open meetings. You could stay no matter what. But I just had to put that out there, that we've had conflict of interest across the board and haphazard management. And I would encourage us never to walk down this road again, and to utilize the resources that we have fully at the county moving forward, or even moving forward in this process.
Karen, on the back of that, I'll say that I think everybody has been, they've put forward as much effort as they can to be objective and do everything on the up and up.
Yeah, I don't want to lead anybody to believe that anybody did things wrong. I just think it was just haphazard. I've been involved in smoother operations, and it's the complexity of this. Maybe it's, you know, I don't know how many years, 20-some years, never having to deal with it. You know, all of those things rolled in together, and I do think everybody has put in a significant amount of work, more than probably we really had to, if we would have had this set up differently. So just saying that, you know, I truly don't want anybody to believe that I feel as anybody's done anything wrong at all. Just, wow, what a headache.
What I will say is I did consult the county's HR department, and that, the extent to that was when we were developing questions for the candidates that we interviewed on telephone and then in person. What the council is what sort of things to stay away from. And that was really the extent of their guidance. It wasn't necessarily related to airport management matters, technical knowledge. It was to try to keep us consistent among the applicants, legal in our questioning, so we didn't run anything afoul.
And I'll take ownership for, you know, it's like, this is just a process that got even away from me. You know, I'm just, like everybody here, we have other jobs and lives. So, you know, I could have probably been better off at the front end of this, but just take ownership for not being clearer way before. That's it. Nothing more.
Any other thoughts or comments from anyone? Okay.
Looks like Miles is up.
Yeah, we'll bring them in.
Oh,
I was just gonna see if there were
Curious,
anything
No, it's
from
in
the
person.
board. Thank you both, Karen and Dylan, for your words, and if you wanna bring them in.
Here's seats, kind of scattered all
Here,
over.
we'll put Miles at the head of the table.
Three over here, I'm sorry, this is dirty chair, but it's not a stain that will transfer. We have some chairs
There are
back
chairs over here.
Good afternoon.
We don't need to stay in, we're,
Oh.
so we could cover.
Yeah, well,
Well, it's public.
Really quick, this is my wife Olivia.
Hi.
Hi, Olivia.
Hi,
Olivia.
and I got my mom here,
Hi.
Regina,
Hello.
and my oldest sister Cora.
Hello.
Nice to meet you all.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thanks for
You
coming.
drove up today, or?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, in the rain.
I know. Every time we visited, it's been so beautiful and
Yeah.
sunny and blue sky, and today it's a little dreary, but that's okay.
But still beautiful.
Still beautiful.
So hopefully you're still excited about it.
For sure, yes, very excited.
so Olivia, I have one question for the head of the household.
That's right.
That's right. What do you think of Manistee? Could you see yourself living here?
Yes, if we couldn't, we wouldn't be going through this, right? Yeah, we have enjoyed it. We've visited a few times. We love being near the water, so this is perfect. I'm a happier, better head of household when I'm near the water. But yeah, it seems like an awesome place, and yeah, we're very excited about the opportunity.
Okay. Well, Miles, thank you for filling the car. And
Yeah.
bringing a
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we won't stay long, but nice to meet everybody.
We'll come interview you later.
Get all the dirty
Yeah,
details.
yeah. When you apply.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Sweet job.
Well, thank you, Miles, for coming up here.
All right, well, good afternoon. And, I think you've already met George and Dylan, myself, and, have had the opportunity to speak to Barry. Have you folks spoken?
Particularly.
Okay.
After the in-person interview, we did a tour.
Okay, great. Well, as you know, our transition committee is favorably upon your application and wanted to recommend, that to the full board. I think that's a accurate statement, isn't it,
Yep.
Dylan? And, you know, really what struck me, aside from your background in aviation and technical ability, was the email that you sent to the transition committee, after, some time had lapsed. And I think it was a very sincere demonstration of your interest in being partner with the district report. It wasn't a run-of-the-mill, thanks for your time and thanks for, you know, your interview and I'm interested, but it really, it was a heartfelt letter of a few paragraphs that we shared, with all of you. And so, you know, initially, when first candidate declined, he really, wanted to make sure that we did due diligence in the time that was permitted. And I think to the board's credit, even authorized the expenditure of, you know, $25,000 for the search. But your correspondence with us and a reevaluation of your qualifications and background, I think you reflect and tell me, Dylan and George, where I go wrong, that, maybe we could save the $25,000, put a director in place more quickly, that was qualified. side and really had a passion and commitment in town. And so, given that professional background, demonstration of wanting to be here, savings, and your ability to start in short order, I think leads us to this meeting today. And, the transition committee, just the three of us really wanted to get you exposed to the larger board. It's probably as much of an interview, us asking you questions, but don't be afraid to interview us either in the future as well. I think it really leaves an impression to me that you've brought your family along for today's visit, because frankly, the last thing that I want to do is come to business terms with you and then your family not want it. So maybe I'm putting too much stock in it. That Olivia is now here on her second trip, and you've brought others, I think, is noticed and recognized. So, with that introduction of how we got here today and why the transition would like to submit your candidacy to the full board, I would maybe start with the other members on the transition committee to fill in the gaps that
Why don't we go around and introduce ourselves, though, beyond the
Fair enough. We'll start with you. Start with you, Karen.
Karen Goodman, County Commissioner.
Cindy Kaminsky.
Jeff Dons, County Commissioner and Chair.
Cindy's a board member on the authority.
Yeah.
Lindsay Markworth.
A note taker, and she works at,
Okay.
for the county administration, that's correct.
Barry Lynn, current director, trying to work my way out of here.
Preston P. Cardy. We met briefly, but nice seeing you, Miles.
Dylan Walker, board authority member authority board. Good with words.
Yeah.
George Becker, authority member also.
Meet you.
Yeah.
Dylan and George, if you'd like to jump in and
We've reviewed Miles' materials that he's presented, and I think they've all been sent to you guys. They're definitely in front of you right now. Comes highly recommended from his references and people that he's worked with in the past that we're working with now also recommend him. I don't know, you probably all recall we spent a fair amount of money on a transition study for Mead and Hunt, and part of that was reviewing our candidates. So Miles got a green light there. He's got a wealth of experience, multiple airports. The technical acumen that I think he's going to bring to the table is going to be very valuable. And I also, spending some time on the phone with you, Miles, has been good. So I think you're easy to talk to. I think you're going to have good customer service skills with all of our stakeholders here at the airport, and I would back the recommendation. So.
I would agree. One thing I liked was, it looks like you just started your career and moved up, but every place was more than just a year or two. You stuck it out and it was long-term, and it looked like you were working towards something, a goal like this maybe. So definitely recommend.
There's not much more to say. I mean, I think that, looking at what your resume and your letter, I think it's important. I would put more emphasis on what Adam had brought up, is that you reached out to us again and kind of really, again, let us know your interests and stuff. To me, that says a lot about a person, about their goals, and when they feel confident and they could do something, they're going to promote it even more. And though, we were already starting in a different direction, you came back to us and said, it's worth my time. And I think that makes a lot of sense. I'm in the behavioral health field too, so I think they're visualize that and say that's somebody who's really gonna work towards it.
I don't know how to top that, because that was, yeah, I have to totally agree with Karen, and, resume to me was very impressive, and, yes, I'm glad you're here. Today.
Looking forward to working together. I assume that's where the path we're going down, so.
What prompted you to look for a new position? Coming from, you've been there since 2013 at Battle Creek, what was the...
So a couple of years ago, my current employer went through a transition. And so, helping them navigate through that, I think it was just, they are kind of ready, I think, to kind of take it in the direction they want to go. And so I think I'm kind of wanting to spread my wings out a little bit, take on a challenge such as this. But also, like I had said in some of the interviews, I really do think the airport has a lot of potential. Just for growth, like potentially new buildings, could be a whole different style of aviation as well. Just depends on kind of how things progress with some of the up-and-coming aviation methods, as we would say, like these electric or like short commuting type style aircraft that are coming to the market, so emerging aviation. I'm not quite sure what that might mean for here, but those are just some things that I had thought about. Really, I think who wouldn't want to live in a small coastal town? So there's opportunity for me and my wife, I think, to really have an impact on the community. So those were, I think, just some of the things that really attracted me to this. When I found the opportunity, I did call Stephanie right away, Stephanie Ward, and she thought I'd be a good fit, so I thought about it. We actually, Olivia came up right around Memorial Day weekend, just for the day, kind of like today. And we're like, yeah, it's good, just a nice, small little town. And so we looked into it a little bit more, and it kind of got more exciting. I ended up finding the YouTube meetings. These three know, I've been watching those. So I really, after watching those, I felt like somebody like myself could be a good fit. So it's not that I'm necessarily unhappy.
Right.
I think it's time for me to kind of take the next step.
I like that insight for your own self, and obviously you like challenges, sounds like, which is great. One of the things, and I've been on this board, I don't know how long. Every year I learn just that much more and that much more. I mean, there's just so much, and again, social worker, nothing to do with airports. So it's a big learning curve, and I think that learning curve has to also be applied to the rest of our board and into the community. Because what you're saying about growth and opportunities, we've been talking about that and we're interested in that, but it sounds like you know how to kind of maybe move that into our whole community. Because, and Barry can say this, I mean, we've kind of nickeled and dimed over the years, but I think that's the lack of education and the importance of an airport. And I'm guilty of that. So I'm not saying that we're going to open up the treasure chest at the county, but I am saying that those opportunities, if you can bring those and provide that, and I'm looking for a heavy role in the community as well, so that people will say, well, yeah, that airport's important. We got to do that.
Along Karen's comment about financial commitment to the airport. I think that, the county has been a good partner. And the county, a few years back, increased its contribution. And in this, budget cycle, initially, we asked the county to double, $150,000, $300,000. And I don't think it was met with extreme resistance.
Heart palpitation, but.
Well, is a testament to the relationship between county and the authority. After some budgeting had been done, I think it was determined that we could operate with something less than $150 more, $85,000 more. And so the board amended the request. I think as a demonstration of being a good partner and a fiscally responsible steward of county's tax dollars. But the reason why I share that with you is to demonstrate the relationship between the county and authority board, and the fact that the county has the trend is the county's increasing its financial commitment to the airport, not decreasing its commitment to the airport. And, who knows? We may find that we need more to run it. We may find that sooner rather than later. From my vantage point, given my relationship with the county, I would just say they've been supportive so long as the privilege is used. But we have two county board members that can adjust those statements. You think they're off?
I think our board supports the airport. I don't want to overcomplicate it, and I don't want to oversimplify it.
I think they're supportive, but also too, again, I think the education level is just surfacey, and that's for us to grow. And again, I think we're all okay, but I just think there's opportunity being missed by not having a better understanding. And that's not just the board, it's the community. We have to let the city know how important this airport is, so it's not just the commissioners.
What I would tell you, I also chair the EDC at the chamber, and economic development at the airport is extremely important to economic development. And a town this size to have passenger service is somewhat unique. It's not rare, but it is unique, and it helps us stand out from the crowd, and the ability to travel anywhere United and American fly on one ticket. It's a good thing. We've made some progressive steps in the last several years, and we keep trying to move forward.
So along those lines of scheduled air service, I think, our initial around the table was kind of the minor leagues and congratulatory. Now for the technical questions. It's really important to the airport and to the community to maintain its scheduled air service and its Part 139 requirement. Can you help your experience come to life and jump off the page and highlight how your career experience well qualifies you manage this Part 139 standpoint and working with Contour also? Sure, your professional experiences with those two matters.
So most of my experience, starting my career kind of in 2008, right after I graduated college, worked at the airport in Bismarck, North Dakota for a year as an intern. there's a short gap where I, was trying to find my first-time job, which ended up in Bloomington, so October 2009. So since then, I've been involved with 139 up until November of 22, when my current airport certificate, really because it wasn't needed. So there's a lot that comes with that when you're obligated to meet 139, and there just really wasn't that need. So but the airport kind of made a commitment to endeavor to maintain 139 standards, even though we're not obligated to. So, I mean, as far as being familiar with the regulation, I'm very comfortable with that. Understanding, every airport kind of has its own flavor on how it does that, whether it's ops or maintenance, or it's a dual role, and there's so many different styles that can be kind of pursued.
Did you say that was in Bismarck or somewhere subsequent?
Oh, I'm sorry. So Bismarck was an intern. I was an intern for 1 year. And then October 2009, I started in Bloomington. I was there for about 3 years.
And so, in your capacity in Bloomington is where you had, responsibility on Part 139?
I was the one performing the inspections. So my title there was operations supervisor, so I also led the snow crew, issued NOTAMs, did fuel safety, just the truck and fuel farm inspections. It wasn't the quality control. And then I also had to coordinate with the city because they were the provider of ARP services to make sure that their firefighters met the ARP training requirements. And then when I transitioned to Battle Creek as the operations manager, all that stuff continued. I wasn't necessarily the one doing the inspections. I could, to help staff out if they were task saturated with other jobs. So as far as conducting the work, I understand that. As far as understanding the regulation, that's something I have been familiar with for 17 years, I suppose. So that component, I think, is, I'm comfortable with.
And what size team did you manage?
Yeah, so in my current position in Battle Creek, as ops manager, I oversaw 7. They expanded to 8. And now that I'm in the role that I'm in now as the assistant aviation director, we backfilled the ops manager, so he directly oversees the 7 ops maintenance staff. So I oversee him, but also, I suppose, indirectly the other staff too. So.
And in Bloomington, what was the size of the crew you managed, if any?
It was during snow removal and stuff like that. I mean, it was like 4 or 5. And so it was really just kind of coordinating the work. The supervision kind of fell to the maintenance supervisor, and then also we'd keep an eye on the custodial and stuff like that, so. Because they had, there was custodial staff there as well, so.
Were you accustomed to wearing a few different hats then?
Very much. When you're at a smaller airport, even one like Bloomington or Bismarck, you are involved with many different aspects. If you go to, larger airports, it's more specialized, so they may have a position that does just the fuel safety inspections. Or you have somebody that really just kind of issues NOTAMs. So the issues get reported to like a communications center, and then that person would enter the NOTAM, and which is, a NOTAM is a notice to air mission. It's how we communicate to the users, whether they're local or transient, the conditions of the airport. So oftentimes it's field conditions with, the pavement's wet or there's contaminants like snow, ice, like that. But also Is the runway closed today, or is the construction happening?
In 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, sorry, I lost track of days.
We do too.
But yes, so things like that, if there's irregular surfaces, so it's just a safety kind of notification. As far as airlines, that would be somewhat new territory. I think really it's just forming a relationship with them and making sure that, you know, they have a safe place to operate in and out of. And then presenting information as far as like enplanements and things like that, that would be of interest to the board. You know, because I know that, that number is very important, because it does affect funding. And so really, it's just making sure we can maintain the service, but also understanding, you know, making that we have the place for them to land, because that does affect, it would have a huge effect on, funding levels and stuff here, so. And then also, I mean, do people fly out of here versus anywhere else that might be offering, their service? So, I mean, it doesn't, I wouldn't, like, Jeff had mentioned earlier, you know, it doesn't want to overcomplicate it, but also not oversimplify it either, so I think it would be, it's just, I think, a relationship, really, is what it comes down to for me.
It does look like you have had opportunity and have been able to engage with your community in leadership roles. That's good.
So I will say the experience I have, that's something that I've definitely wanted to expand on more. So I try to make efforts to, within my, role, to kind of go above and beyond, what my role might be asking, but also I have to recognize, hey, it's not my position to just be out there representing the airport. So that is something that excites me about this position, is I feel like that would be an opportunity, to kind of be the voice for the airport, or at least one of the many. And so, yeah, I would be excited for that.
Are you originally from North Dakota?
I got a long travel history.
Well, I
I'm
mean, you
originally
know,
from California.
okay, because winters are different
Oh,
here than even Battle Creek, so
yeah,
you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay. I mean, you survived there.
Yeah. I grew up in California, Southern California, San Fernando Valley, and then, my family moved up to Vacaville, California, in between, Sacramento and San Francisco on Interstate 80, and then I made the wild decision to move 2,000-ish miles away from home to go to the University of North Dakota. Did 4 years
Beautiful
there.
but-
Yeah. Did 4 years there, got airport management degree, and, I initially wanted to be a commercial pilot. It's very expensive, and you have to maintain a certain level of medical and things like that. And so, and just, I would say, the environment that pilots work in just didn't really suit me. So I looked at the curriculum and I was like, oh, this looks interesting, and so here I am.
I'll add that, you may not realize this, but University of North Dakota is one of the top aviation schools in the country. It is.
Did not know that.
Yeah, like Embry-Riddle, I probably should put my school first, but the top three, I'll say, in no particular order: Embry-Riddle, North Dakota, and Western. And then there's a whole bunch of others underneath.
Do you fly with your pilot's license, or?
So it's not current.
Okay,
It is something that I've thought about,
okay.
but, there's, you know, head of household I gotta consult with, and then, yeah.
Fair enough.
Tell me about, the budgeting roles and responsibilities that you would have in this position. I think you would be our chief budgeting officer, and responsible for articulating that budget to the county board, should you need more. So what sort of background do you have in forming budgets, defending budgets, and most importantly, convincing whoever you're trying to give you the dough?
So I'm very familiar with putting budgets together. I've been very involved with that in the last 14 years in Battle Creek. And it's not just the typical operating budget, but there's the capital improvement budget. And I know there's all sorts of caveats for that as far as, you have your ACIP. There could be more of a localized, improvement plan that, you may not be asking for federal funds from. So in the situation that we're in now, in Battle Creek is, the airport's always been, subsidized. There's always been, it just, the amount may vary, in what, they're willing to support, so.
By the county, you mean, subsidized by the county?
So in our case,
City?
yeah, it's subsidized by, a TIFA, that, essentially reports to the city, but yes. So it is, kind of managing that relationship, I think it hasn't been my responsibility to justify it in front of the decision makers, but I had to justify it to the person that had to do that. So, so it is a process I'm familiar with. I've tried to get as much exposure to that as possible. I think I'm capable of doing it. Really, it just kind of comes down to communication. So just being open on kind of where you're at. Here's kind of things that could need replacement or improvement, and just being honest with that and say, hey, if we don't do this, if things are deferred, it's just going to add up and pile up, and it's going to be, it could potentially not be nice. So it really is just kind of laying setting the foundation of, here's kind of where we're at, and here's kind of what I'm asking for, and then here's why. So I'm answering those questions by giving people the opportunity ahead of time and not making it a rush decision. So just giving people as much advance notice as possible. Important too.
Do you have specific things for us to do?
Just 1 second, Karen. That's a question. Preston, are we gonna?
Sorry, Preston.
No, you're fine. What were the main revenue drivers at Battle Creek? Because I'm assuming they didn't have
Land lease.
land lease was.
And ground lease. The airport owned a couple of buildings too that they leased, and so, the rates are a little bit different for those, but land lease, we charge landing fees, we charge, fuel flowage fees, but, I suppose if it were possible, like, those fees would kind of help bridge the gap of self-sufficiency. But you're gonna get a lot of complaints if you do that. If you charge if market rate for landing fee might be like $25, and for the airport to be self-sufficient, they would have to charge $75. It's like, you're probably not gonna do that. So you do lower it, and you have to either stay within your means or seek other financial assistance, which is not uncommon. A lot of airports, probably kind of this size, but our airport is subsidized, $700,000-800,000. That's just on the operating expenses.
What type of leases do they have down there?
Ground lease?
Yes.
Ground leases, it depends, they're probably longer term, probably 30 years.
Yeah, but what are we talking? Are we talking hangars? We talking
Oh, yeah.
buildings for industry? What are we talking?
A little bit of apron, hangars, Large hangars, so it just depends on the business that's at your airport. We have, a business that's an MRO, it's a maintenance, remanufacture, and overhaul of corporately owned and privately owned business jets. So probably some of the traffic you see here. That they, top to bottom, I mean, they can do anything you want, put new furniture, new flooring, paint, new engines, put a PlayStation in there if you want. So they have an FBO aspect, just to serve, primarily to serve their business, but, it also serves the airport. And then, Waco, is owned by a company called D-More, but they manufacture airplanes. So, yeah, it's mostly hangars. We have a few T hangars, and then, the college has, some school buildings. So, Western Michigan University's College of Aviation is based there too, so they have a lot of classrooms, but also hangars for their, airplanes being stored.
Anything in your career that you've come across, background, and maybe experiences or anything you might have done different and in hindsight and then learned from that would help here, that, something? That's a great question, too.
That's an interesting question. I'm not sure, I'm sure there is, to think of one.
We asked a ton of questions in the interview, and I thought, well, what is something else that we didn't ask that maybe you can think of that,
Yeah.
Maybe not a fault or something, just,
Yeah.
thought, you know what, we should have done that, and,
Something in your experience that,
yeah.
You feel like you could bring here with gangbusters.
Miles, before you answer that, I'll share a quick story. I was asked the same question. I didn't come up with an answer, and I did not get the job.
No pressure.
Yeah, right. I suppose there's one scenario I'd be curious to see how it's taken. But there was a time where, we were in the middle of the air show, because Battle Creek is the host site, for an air show that's put on by a event sponsor. And there's an event taking place, there was an accident, and so we were trying to, clean it up so the air show could continue. It wasn't an aircraft-related accident. And so I kind of felt, some pressure from my supervisor to, like, hey, when's this thing gonna get open? And I was like, well, when it's ready. Well, that's not what I want. And so it was just kind of, like, okay, well, so I called the guys that are out there trying to clean it up and let's wrap it up. So I really felt kind of pressured. If I think back on it now, I would have, like, hey man, this is gonna take what it's gonna take. We can't have a secondary accident or incident because we were rushed trying to clean up. So it would just be like, ensuring that if my instincts are saying one thing, it's just, have confidence and belief in that, so.
Back to your question, Karen.
I just was wondering if we've been hitting you up with questions, but have you come with any questions for us?
I really didn't. I asked
Okay.
a lot of questions to the transition committee.
Okay.
Which I kind of touched on a little bit with, kind of how do you guys envision your port? Do you envision buildings down here? Do you envision?
Put Traverse City out of
Yeah.
business.
Good luck with that.
Pretty nice.
I had also asked, have you guys like, thought about, like, what little quadcopters, not like miniature drones, you know, but just like these air taxis that can go back and forth, leaving Manistee, commuting over to Traverse City, commuting down to Grand Rapids. You know, they're probably like a wild idea, but it was just something I was curious, about. You know,
United Airlines had something like that, they were talking about down to Chicago and
mhm.
back and forth in the city,
We, another market area we've talked about is, Detroit, you know, being able to get all those Lions fans down to Detroit,
Mhm.
you know, short commute kind of thing,
Yeah.
but
I think,
we're open to.
I think we're open to a lot. Barry brought it up probably 2 years ago, maybe a little longer, about the possibility of exactly what you're talking about. I'll just refer to them as an electric air taxi.
Mhm.
You know, to what degree, who knows? You gotta, one thing I do know with my experience, you're better off embracing the change than fighting it.
Mhm.
And I'd rather be on the front edge than the back,
Yeah.
Well,
Can I remember?
at times, Karen, when it's prudent.
You know, I think, a good question on that topic is this, and I would really run this as a general theme to all points. Great idea, a lot of opportunity, but I think the board looks squarely to you to recruit it, to chase it, for opportunity, to realize opportunity. So my question for you would, how would you pursue recruiting those sort of air taxis, this airport, and bringing that to fruition? Or, if you just don't know, that's fine, but generally, what is your recruitment approach to attract business?
The thing that comes to mind is, forming relationships, or leveraging the ones that may already be, in existence, with the economic developers. I feel like helping them understand the value in airport that it brings to the community can help them, you know, can be a mutual benefit, where they, I bring understanding, to you, say, hey, here's what the airport can offer, and then they can try, you know, they can put their foot forward in their, expertise with, hey, look, I know the airport director, if you have any questions about airports, or, hey, have you guys considered this or that? So that's probably the approach I would take, is I know this world, there are aspects that would be, you know, new, and so you let people, that are very good at what they do what they do best. So that would be kind of my approach as far as trying to tackle that, is like, hey, have you guys thought about this? You know, can we, you know, does the airport have infrastructure for that? How do we plan for that? So I think really it just kind of starts with a willingness, though, to, hey, that's an option, is it possible? I will say, so like, one of my boss that I had in Battle Creek for a long time, retired years ago, that's why we went through the transition and stuff. A couple things that he impressed upon me were, he's never really focused on how much it costs to start. It was really like, what do you dream about? And then trying to pursue that, and you figure out, you know, how it all plays out in the process. So he accomplished quite a bit, trying to do that. So the other thing was, when you have, something before you, and it might be, it's something you've never done before, an approach you've not taken, it's new territory, or things like that, the question you would ask is like, well, why can't we do it? So you'd say, tell me why we can't do it. Right now, I don't know. So, it often turned out to be, well, we're gonna do it, and then we're gonna kind of see what happens. So, it did really kind of change my perspective, I will say, you know, it can be, nerve-wracking, you know, kind of navigating in the dark and gotta trust your instincts, and have faith in the relationships that you built, you know, to pursue that kind of stuff.
Last thing I'll probably ask about is, life-work balance. You've been up to Manistee 2-3 times, right? Small community, slower pace, definitely slower pace than Battle Creek. So you think you can, acclimate to this area? We have housing issues here. I don't know if anybody's prepared you for that. They're available, but, you know, a wide variety. Yeah. What do you think about the community in the future? It's a tough community. I'm not gonna shy away from that.
Yeah.
Everybody knows.
I've only heard rumors, I'm trying not to get into the weeds, and so, I mean, where I'm at currently can be a tough community as well. I mean, they've been supportive of the airport, which has definitely helped, because they're city-owned and operated. And so, yeah, I mean, I think understanding, I understand that this role will be very demanding. I feel like I can do it. I gotta be careful though, to not overdo it and burn out,
Yeah.
so.
That's where the boss comes.
So, and, I mean, the business that she's in, you know, it, like you said, is, I mean, it is gonna be a challenge, but we're making connections with, real estate office here. So I think, you know, I think it could pan out pretty well.
I would say it's a tough community, but it's resilient. I mean, it has a lot of, once you get through the weeds a little bit, you'll find the resilience and a lot of positives. Just like to kind of scare.
Yeah, yeah, test them out.
Yeah, we test you out.
You're doing a good job of that, Karen.
I came here 6 years ago, and it's been interesting. You got on the Harbor Commission, and here, yeah, you learn a lot about the community. Ins and outs, ups and downs, good and bad.
Yeah.
Miles, in your role at Battle Creek, what keeps you up at night? What weighs on your mind with respect to the issues with which you're faced at the airport? What have you done to affect positive change in resolving those issues?
I think lately, you know, they have a lot of infrastructure, and there's, you know, funding is kind of tight to even just maintain, get alone replace. And so I would say that's, you know, what kind of takes up most of my time, right now, is being creative, but if this is what the, you know, leadership this is the direction they wanna go, here's, you know, just kind of laying out, here's the challenges that are gonna be, ahead of us. And so really, it's the airport's size, and how are if we either have to make changes in the size, or there's gotta be an increase in funding to, maintain. So, that is probably what, you know, I'm like, that causes me the most, consternation with where I'm at. What do? Is I try to come to the table with, I think I mentioned this to you before, that's the way we always have done it. It's not my first approach. I will ask that question, well, how do we do it? How was it done? But I'm constantly thinking, is there a better way to do it?
That dovetails into the second part of my question, is, when did we first interview? Maybe in July?
I forget when the phone interview was, but yeah,
July.
the in-person interview was July
So,
21st.
you know, we had a phone interview, an in-person interview, today, been exposed to our airport now for well over 2 months, maybe approaching 3. What's kept you up at night as you think about this career change in the airport? And, you know, this is kind of a meat and potato question for you. Substantively about taking on this new role at Manistee. Are there any questions that you have that you've been wrestling with? You have all the board in front of you. Anything the way we operate, or direction the board's heading, or back to funding, or airlines. I know what keeps you awake at that street. Have there been any challenges and how you may address them at the airport?
There's been a lot of significant thought, yes.
Great.
And it's okay to, you know, be formulating that in your head as if you got the job and how you want to approach it. You know, have those conversations with us as a board.
Well,
Transition team.
frankly, I would love to hear where we vote on whether we want this guy to direct the airport, what his thoughts are.
Ask
Yeah.
a question. Go ahead.
You've been here a couple of times, anything that stands out that's a main concern or something that?
Let me start with this first. I think I mentioned this in the phone interview. Where I'm at, it's like I'm comfortable. And there really isn't a reason to leave other than this is an opportunity where I think I can, leave an impression. One of my notes here is, let's read this. So I envision this opportunity as the epitome of my career, motivating me to leave the airport better than how it was when I started. The journey to realize the potential we all know this airport has is taking strategic risk for the betterment of the airport and the community it serves. So that is kind of, I want to start with that, but I also want to continue with where I opened up with the, so it's probably not necessarily a secret, but I mean, where I'm at currently, I make more. Where I'm at currently, there is a defined benefit. And so this is for me, it's not just about the job, it's about what I just read. And so it is kind of like there is some personal aspect for me. I'm willing to take the risk. You know, with, what has been presented, what we've talked about. Now, I think probably what's on everybody's mind is how I feel about the current situation. And that has caused me a lot of stress. And so it is a very difficult position to be in where I feel like I'm being relied on. Not necessarily inappropriately, but you know, there is a balance to be had. To kind of lead this airport through it. And I think I can. I just feel time pressure. In the amount of time, and I'm not even technically hired. So I just feel like I'm in this weird space where I'm excited for the opportunity. But I am putting trust in you guys, that, you know, we're gonna work through this together. I don't wanna forget Barry in this process. So all of that is culminating in my mind. Granted, if I'm hired, my mission will be to do what's best for the airport. But it is difficult to try, it's like, to balance, like I'm not technically hired yet, and you're wanting my opinion. And so, I don't know if that is a good start, or if you want more.
No, for me,
Let me throw a different gear at you. You had any experience in any of your travels in other funding other than local unit, whether it be the city, county, FAA, state? Have you had any experience with corporate and or foundation funding to advance the airport?
No, I can't say I have, but, I mean, if there's opportunity for it, I mean,
How long Foundation made any commitment to Battle Creek?
if they have, I'm not familiar if it's been directly. Yeah, yeah.
well, it sounds like for places like Western, you know, their presence at the airport, you know, they're bring their planes in, so it's not as direct, but it is supportive of that airport. So that would be private. In different ways, not just handing over cash, they're paying service. Which, I haven't heard that, but again, that mediation, that's how better school. Yeah, I never thought of other corporate stuff.
It sounds like they're balanced, you know, Chicago, airport, how lucky it is. It's all mostly corporate and private, are they, your hangars, are they all privately owned, is there corporate, ownership too, or vice versa? City owned?
A lot of them are privately owned. Most of them are, businesses that operate there. There's one hangar that is privately owned, where it's really, you know, just, I think it's like a group of individuals, now. And then the T hangars, which are city owned, and then we lease them out.
I'm good.
I didn't know about your compensation at Battle Creek and it in relation to here, but that was great info. I really respect how you're still pursuing the opportunity that Charles brought, so thank you.
Okay, well, any other thoughts?
Think so? Yeah, I guess, we know.
You'll be the first.
Yeah.
Well, you're welcome to stick around.
Yeah, what, hang around for about 15-20 minutes.
Sure, yeah, I'll step out. Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you, Miles.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Now we'll interview
Yeah, better.
Send her in.
Okay.
The recommendation from your transition team is the hiring of this contract.
Yep.
I don't have a question.
Everybody read the contract?
Well, the changes.
Yeah, in red will be adopted at this point when we send the final contract.
I guess I had one question, list of holidays. Pretty sure that's just straight from the county. There's no reason we have to follow that same list.
That's what I was saying.
Seems very generous, but I don't know what thought has been given into that, so, because I believe this originated as the county employment agreement document and therefore got, so, just want to point out that is something that this board could
What
change.
holidays do you give your staff?
What?
What holidays do you give your staff?
They don't get any,
Right.
So,
we have to be open to.
Well, because, yeah, that's why I mentioned something, and that's why I even went like an employee's birthday, because it's like, you know, when you run an airport, you're open 24/7 basically, that, I used to work out here when I worked for the airline, so
so
you
there are,
don't get to pick and choose your holidays.
there's
You
no
gotta work.
accommodations, there's, you're here every single day, 365 days.
Well, I am not, but people are.
All right, so what are your holidays?
I generally take what I would call the big seven, so New Year's, Memorial, 4th, Labor, for Thanksgiving and Christmas. I've never worked at a company that had this generous of a holiday package, but I think this is more standard of a government entity than it is a private entity, so.
So,
And I don't know what you're looking for. So again, I'm just not saying you need to change anything, and I don't know what previous conversations have been had. I'm
that would be my question.
Pointing out-
Transition team.
just my
Yeah,
reaction.
and I'm glad you mentioned that, because I kind of made a comment about the holidays when I first read it.
Here's what I'll say. This is a high-level employee, and we're gonna expect that business is done when it needs to be done. If there's nothing going on legally designated Veterans Day, I don't expect him to just be sitting in the chair twiddling. That's not who we're hiring. If there's business going on at the airport that has to be covered, then that'll be the expectation, and I think that that's understood. I think that that's understood. So, we're not, it's a salary position, it's not like we're paying him time and a half if he's here on any of these times. So, I hear what you're saying on, it is a long list. I mean, I wish I had it too, but, the fact is that if I get a call, I get a call. If he gets a call, I expect him to answer it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Two things that I kinda wanna point out that aren't, I don't think in here, we, are recommending a $1,500 moving stipend, and, we'll discuss a cell phone stipend in the future.
Appropriate.
Yeah, so I would just like to add those in, I guess, as, before the final offer goes out, so.
What would you like to add in for the cell phone stipend?
The county does $25 a month.
I think 25's probably low, but,
I better talk to the chair.
Talk all you want.
I mean,
Just don't do it on your phone, 'cause you won't get many minutes for
I wanna-
25 a month.
So,
I looked at the average, it's $50 a month.
okay.
you know, he's gonna be doing a lot of business off hours, and people are gonna be texting and bothering him about the airport and fielding calls from us, so I think it's appropriate that we do that.
No. You said that, we don't have anywhere in here where it says we'll do a stipend?
No, we missed that. I guess I would add that under business expenses. Just put a line in here.
Negotiated, phone stipend or whatever.
Yeah,
And I don't think the, moving fees have to be included in the contract.
No?
It can be a separate agreement.
okay, good with that. All right, with that, I'd move that we offer our role of director based on the contract that we've all reviewed and discussed to Mr. Miles Weaver.
I would second that.
Okay. There's a motion and a second.
And a roll call.
Would you like to call the roll, Lynn?
Mr. Adamson?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Jeff Dance?
Yes.
Ms. Goodman?
Yes.
Ms. Kaminsky?
Yes.
Mr. Picardi?
Yes.
I don't like the holiday deal. That's an understanding.
Maybe we could give those holidays to everybody. That was-
Well, I'm just saying, I understand exactly what Jeff said. But I think it should just be, I don't know, maybe there should be different wording, in my opinion, that he understands that if he's getting Martin Luther King Day off, doesn't mean he can turn his phone off.
I would expect that from him anyway in this position. This
Well,
is
you would, but
executive.
you wanna make it clear that,
Well,
I don't know, I guess it's just worded differently, that I'm like,
Well, I think I would just read this one sentence. It's the opening sentence of the paragraph to address hours of work and holidays. It is recognized and understood that contracted employee will be available to staff and others during office hours, and that a substantial amount of time must be devoted outside of the normal office hours business of the contracting agent. So what I would hang my hat on is devoted outside of normal office hours.
sure.
So if that puts
I do
the
pick
concern
up
at ease.
in his personality type, he's looking for not only a challenge, but he's highly responsible. So,
Yeah, I do, I agree with
pick
that
that up.
statement, yeah.
so, roll call, we're all done?
done.
I think we took it.
Done, yeah, I think that's kind of an after.
Anything more, or do you wanna go get him? I'm gonna ask him if he's related to any of the Weavers out in California.
Had a Weaver on Down's Road when I was a kid.
There was a Michigan Supreme Court justice named Elizabeth Weaver who lived in Leland.
Yeah, I knew her.
I'm just talking about Caliban brothers. All right, I think we're gonna hold a record here for meetings.
And we got something accomplished.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe.
These other meetings that are.
Yeah, it's allowable.
I know.
Not a grilled cheese until half, both sides are toasted.
Is that a thumb thing?
Could be. Heard it here
Like
first.
that one, yeah.
I think you should trademark that one. Yeah, I haven't heard that one.
Public knowledge, too late.
Oh. Sorry.
I'm gonna have to work that one on Andrew.
You start using that one in board meetings.
So we'll have a cleaned up copy sent to him by the end of this week, probably, okay, he knows that. Well, welcome aboard. Oh, I thought you would have said something.
You did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was just confirming that we'll have something this updated and cleaned up and sent out by the end of the week. Okay, Wednesday?
Wednesdays, Wednesday.
Wednesday.
And where will that be sent from? Our the county office, maybe?
Sounds good to me.
Who has this on?
Lisa's been working on it for us.
Okay.
Okay.
So we'll,
I'll-
our county administrator will clean up the final draft. We added in the
Cell phone.
Cell phone stipend.
and then she'll mail it to you.
Okay. All right.
Start on Monday.
Yeah, we'll say, one thing I've mentioned to Adam, and the transition committee was, you know, giving my current employer 4 weeks. And so I wanna talk to them first and make sure, so if there's an opportunity to potentially start earlier, I'm willing to entertain that, but I just wanna make sure, you know, I have a respect for them, the last 14 years, they get the opportunity.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that is.
And then, like you were saying, finding a place to live and starting that transition.
If anything, we got empty hangars out back.
Just you and your wife? Just the two, I know there's a couple condos out in Harbor Village that are, at least for rent right now, but start if you can't find anything else.
Okay, all right, sounds good.
Meeting's adjourned.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Awesome.
Thank
We
you.
can talk, but at
Welcome
least
aboard.
we can